And how does the undoing of one who lives the holy life come about? Here Tathagata appears in the world, Arahant Sammasambuddha, perfect in true knowledge and conduct, sublime, knower of worlds, incomparable leader of persons to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, enlightened, blessed. He resorts to a secluded resting place, the forest, etc. While he lives thus withdrawn, Brahmins and householders from town and country visit him. Yet he does not go astray or become filled with desire, succumb to craving and revert to luxury. But a disciple of this teacher, emulating his teacher's seclusion, resorts to a secluded resting place, the forest, the root of a tree, a mountain, etc. While he lives thus withdrawn, Brahmins and householders from town and country visit him, and as a result he goes astray, becomes filled with desire, succumbs to craving, and reverts to luxury. This one who lives the holy life is said to be undone by the undoing of one who lives the holy life. He has been struck down by evil and unwholesome states that defile, bring renewal of being, give trouble, ripen in suffering, and lead to future birth, aging, and death. Thus there comes to be the undoing of one who leads the holy life. And herein, Ananda, the undoing of one who leads the holy life has a more painful result, a more bitter result than the teacher's undoing, or the pupil's undoing, and it even leads to perdition. Stop here for a moment. So here, the Buddha is talking about a Buddhist monk, a disciple of the Buddha, the Tathagata. And here he is said to be the one who leads the holy life. Whereas the earlier when the Buddha talked about the teacher and the pupil, he does not say that they lead the holy life, because the real holy life is the path taught by the Buddha, the path that leads out of the round of rebirths. That's why the real holy life is to be found in the Noble Eightfold Path. And the Buddha says, one who has already come to the Noble Eightfold Path, if you go astray, and then the result is much more bitter than an external ascetic. It can even lead to hell, because the teaching is so good, our teacher is so good, the Buddha, and so when we inherit something that is so good, and we go the wrong way, then we have to pay much more than somebody who follows an external teacher. So this one set me a thinking. It's not only for monks, even for lay people. Lay people, you have come to the Buddha's teachings, which is so perfect, utterly pure. You don't make use of it. When you pass away, you're going to regret very much. You're going to realize such a valuable thing has come into your hands, and you just threw it away. And you will have much more remorse than if you, for example, if you followed an external teaching, and the teaching is not worth much. If you threw it away, you don't regret very much. But if you have come into such a perfect teaching as the Buddha's Dhamma, and you don't make use of it, that amounts to throwing it away. So when you, at the end of your life, you will regret extreme terribly, not only for a monk, also for lay people. Therefore, Ananda, behave towards me with friendliness, not with hostility. That will lead to your welfare and happiness for a long time. And how do disciples behave towards the teacher with hostility, not with friendliness? Here, Ananda, compassionate and seeking their welfare, the teacher teaches the Dhamma to the disciples out of compassion. This is for your welfare, this is for your happiness. His disciples do not want to hear or give ear or exert their minds to understand. They err and turn aside from the teacher's dispensation or teaching. Thus do disciples behave towards the teacher with hostility, not with friendliness. And how do disciples behave towards the teacher with friendliness, not with hostility? Here, Ananda, compassionate and seeking their welfare, the teacher, that means the Buddha, teaches the Dhamma to the disciples out of compassion. This is for your welfare, this is for your happiness. His disciples want to hear and give ear and exert their minds to understand. They do not err and turn aside from the teacher's dispensation. Thus do disciples behave towards the teacher with friendliness, not with hostility. Therefore, Ananda, behave towards me with friendliness, not with hostility. That will lead to your welfare and happiness for a long time. I shall not treat you as the potter treats the raw damp clay. Repeatedly restraining you, I shall speak to you, Ananda. Repeatedly admonishing you, I shall speak to you, Ananda. The sound call will stand the test. That is what the Blessed One said. Remember, Ananda was satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's words. Now this part, last part now, I like to elaborate a bit now. Here the Buddha says that we should behave with friendliness towards the Buddha. That is by hearing what the Buddha says in his discourses, and give ear and exert the mind to understand what the Buddha is trying to teach us. And if we don't pay attention to the Buddha's teachings and try to understand, then we are behaving with hostility towards the Buddha. And the Buddha has warned in the Samyutta Nikaya 20.7 that in time to come, the disciples, that means the Buddhist monks, will not want to listen to the Buddha's words. Instead, they want to listen to the words of disciples. The word of the disciples refers to later monks who wrote the Abhidhamma, later monks who wrote the commentaries, later monks who wrote the Visuddhimagga, who wrote the Mahayana Sutras and all that. So the Buddha has already warned us not to listen to those teachings, but to only keep to his original suttas. So if we don't want to investigate the Buddha's original suttas and understand them, then we are behaving with hostility towards the Buddha. So it's very important to study suttas like this and to behave towards the Buddha with friendliness by investigating his original suttas and trying to understand his original suttas and not later writings of other monks. And then the Buddha says that Ananda, I shall not treat you as the potter treats the raw damp clay. In other words, I won't treat you as something very delicate. The Buddha says he constantly admonishes his disciples. The sound call will stand. So actually a lot of people don't know the Dhamma. They think showing compassion means to be to speak kind words to the disciple all the time. You find this is not what happens with the Buddha. Buddha sometimes when the disciples do something wrong, he will scold them, call them foolish men, and so that's the way that the Buddha says that actually that is compassion. That's a real compassion, and a disciple needs to be scolded. The teacher should scold the disciple so that he'll wake up. Otherwise, he won't wake up.